The distant hum of dying machinery echoed through the narrow corridors of the research vessel. Jay's hands moved frantically across the holographic control panels, streams of alien data flickering like desperate fireflies. Sweat beaded on his forehead, mixing with the faint blue phosphorescent dust that seemed to coat everything in their living quarters. "We're losing primary power," Hannah called out, her voice steady despite the growing tension. Their daughter Una sat quietly in the corner, her large emerald-colored eyes watching her parents with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The ship, once a pristine marvel of scientific exploration, now looked like a wounded beast, its metal skin scarred and panels flickering with intermittent bursts of electrical sparks. Outside the reinforced viewports, endless darkness stretched. In every direction, no stars, no hope, just an infinite void that seemed to mock their existence. Jay's research had been controversial from the start. Studying quantum entanglement across biological systems wasn't just unusual, it was dangerous. The Galactic Coalition didn't like scientists who asked too many questions, who pushed boundaries beyond established knowledge. "Another communication burst," Hannah said, her fingers dancing across a secondary communication array. "Nothing but static." Una shifted closer, her small hand touching a portable holographic device. It projected a miniature map of their current location, a remote sector where no rescue mission would voluntarily venture. They were precisely 3.7 million kilometers from the nearest established trade route, surrounded by electromagnetic interference that made communication nearly impossible. The ship's artificial gravity generator began to wobble, creating strange pockets of weightlessness. A cup of nutrient liquid floated lazily past Jay's head, its contents spreading like a strange blue cloud before slowly settling back down. "We have approximately 72 hours of life support remaining," Jay announced, his voice calm but carrying an underlying current of controlled panic. Years of scientific training had taught him to remain objective, even when facing certain death. Hannah moved to their daughter, adjusting her protective environment suit. The fabric was lined with advanced thermal regulators, designed to protect against extreme temperature variations. Una looked up, her expression a curious mix of childlike innocence and unexpected maturity. "Will we die?" she asked, her voice soft but direct. Jay and Hannah exchanged a quick glance. The universal language of parental communication needed no translation. "We're scientists," Jay responded, forcing a smile. "We don't give up easily." The ship suddenly lurched, sending a cascade of equipment tumbling across the research station. Warning sirens began a low, persistent wail, a mechanical heartbeat signaling impending catastrophe. Microfractures were developing in the outer hull. Radiation levels were incrementally rising. Their sophisticated sensors were picking up strange, quantum fluctuations that defied standard scientific understanding. Hannah began recording their final research logs, ensuring that even if they didn't survive, their groundbreaking discoveries wouldn't be lost forever. Each data packet was encrypted with multiple layers of protection, a final act of scientific defiance against a universe that seemed determined to silence them. Una watched her parents, understanding more than they realized. She knew their research was important, something that could potentially revolutionize how living systems were understood across multiple dimensional planes. As emergency lighting shifted from standard white to a deep crimson, casting dramatic shadows across their faces, the family remained united. No fear, no hysteria, just quiet determination. The Galactic Coalition might have abandoned them, but their spirit remained unbroken. Their research, their hope, their very existence continued to pulse with an energy that refused to be extinguished. Something was coming, something unexpected, and they would be ready. End of Part 1. The bridge of the Horizon's promise hummed with quiet efficiency. Captain David leaned forward, his fingers tracing the faint signal dancing across the main communication display. Something about this transmission felt different, not just another piece of cosmic noise, but a whisper of desperation. "Run it again," he told Kai, his lead communications specialist. Kai's fingers flew across holographic interfaces, filtering and amplifying the weak signal. A sudden burst of static transformed into a fragmented transmission. Glimpses of a family's desperate situation flickered through. Coordinates, life support. Warnings, a child's faint voice in the background. The ship's artificial intelligence area calculated probabilities with lightning speed. Rescue probability, 0.03%. Risk assessment, extremely high, her smooth voice announced. David knew the standard protocol. In the vast cold expanse of space, rescue missions were strategic calculations, not humanitarian efforts. The Galactic Exploration Consortium had strict guidelines, resources were precious, and random rescue attempts could compromise entire mission objectives. But something tugged at David's conscience. "Plot an intercept course," he commanded. Ignoring the surprised looks from his bridge crew, Michael, the ship's tactical officer, raised an eyebrow. "Sir, that's a 10-day deviation from our primary mission. The fuel consumption alone, "Sir, where?" David interrupted, his eyes never leaving the fragmented signal. The Horizon's Promise was no ordinary exploration vessel. Equipped with experimental quantum drive technology, it could navigate through some of the most challenging spatial regions. Its hull was reinforced with adaptive nanocomposite materials that could self-repair minor damage. As they altered course, the ship's massive engines hummed to life. Quantum field generators created a protective bubble around the vessel, allowing them to slide through dangerous asteroid fields and electromagnetic interference zones with unprecedented precision. Kai continued analyzing the transmission. "It's a research vessel. Looks like they're from the Andromeda Nexus scientific community. Their communication suggests critical system failures." David remembered his own daughter, now studying xenobiology on a distant research station. What if she was stranded? What if no one came? The bridge crew watched their captain, understanding the unspoken decision. This wasn't just a rescue mission, it was a statement about human values. Aria's holographic interface projected detailed scans of the potential rescue zone. Spatial anomalies, radiation pockets, and gravitational disturbances created a complex navigational challenge. But human ingenuity had always thrived on impossible odds. "Prepare medical containment protocols," David ordered. "We don't know their biological composition or potential contamination risks." Specialized medical pods were activated, each capable of supporting multiple alien physiological requirements. Adaptive environmental suits stood ready, capable of adjusting to various atmospheric conditions within seconds. As they approached the coordinates, the vastness of space seemed to hold its breath. Distant nebulae painted cosmic backdrops of deep purples and electric blues. Scattered asteroid clusters drifted like silent witnesses to their mission. Michael's tactical displays showed increasing danger zones. "Captain, we're entering a high-risk spatial corridor. Recommendation is to abort and we're not stopping," David said firmly. The Horizon's Promise pushed forward, quantum drives creating ripples in the fabric of space-time. Each moment brought them closer to a family on the brink of extinction, a testament to humanity's unexpected capacity for compassion. Something extraordinary was about to happen, something that would challenge everything the Galactic Consortium believed about human nature, and they were ready. End of Part 2. Mission status, proceeding risk level. Extreme potential impact, unknown. The massive hull of the Horizon's Promise trembled as it navigated through a treacherous asteroid field. Massive chunks of ancient space rock tumbled around them, each the size of small cities, creating a deadly dance of potential destruction. "Quantum stabilizers at 68%, Kai announced, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. Sweat beaded on his forehead, reflecting the intense concentration required to navigate this cosmic obstacle course. Captain David gripped the command chair, watching external sensors that tracked million-kilometer trajectories with microscopic precision. The rescue vessel wasn't just moving, it was performing a complex ballet of survival, sliding between massive space rocks that could crush them in milliseconds. Suddenly, a massive electromagnetic pulse erupted from a nearby neutron cluster. Harrier's holographic interface flashed warning signals, deep crimson warnings that meant instant death for most spacecraft. "Adaptive shielding engaged," Michael called out. The ship's nanocomposite hull began shifting, molecular structures realigning, to absorb and disperse the dangerous radiation. Outside, the universe seemed to conspire against their mission. Spatial rifts created unpredictable gravitational pockets. Quantum currents twisted normal physics into dangerous, unpredictable patterns. This wasn't just a rescue mission, it was a journey through a living, breathing cosmic nightmare. David remembered his academy training. "Space doesn't care about your intentions," his old instructor would say. "It only respects preparation and skill." The Kreltok family's research vessel appeared on long-range scanners, a wounded machine barely holding together. Its hull showed multiple microfractures, radiation leaks creating beautiful but deadly patterns against the dark space background. "Prepare emergency extraction protocols," David commanded. Special robotic retrieval units began warming up, compact, machines designed to navigate impossible spaces and extract survivors from critically damaged vessels. Kai's communication systems picked up fragmented transmissions. A child's voice, a parent's desperate calculation, scientific data mixed with survival logs. Each fragment told a story of remarkable resilience. The Horizon's promise wasn't just a spacecraft. It was humanity's promise, a commitment that no intelligent life would be abandoned, regardless of political complications or strategic considerations. Michael's tactical displays showed multiple challenges. Galactic Coalition patrol zones surrounded their current position. Unauthorized rescue missions could trigger serious diplomatic incidents, but human compassion rarely calculated political costs. "Quantum drive preparing for precision extraction," Arya announced. Her artificial voice carried an almost emotional undertone, a subtle programming that allowed her to understand the mission's deeper significance. Space around them became a canvas of impossible movements. Quantum drives created subtle ripples, bending normal physics. Asteroid trajectories shifted, radiation patterns twisted. The entire universe seemed to be holding its breath. The retrieval robots deployed, 8-legged mechanical marvels that could survive extreme conditions. Each was equipped with adaptive communication systems, medical stabilization units, and emergency life support capabilities. "Approach vector confirmed," Kai said. "Minimal window of opportunity. We have approximately 17 minutes before spatial conditions become unsurvivable." David watched the external cameras. The Kreltok vessel looked like a wounded animal, beautiful in its desperate struggle for survival. Scientific equipment floated through internal corridors. Emergency systems flickered between life and death. The rescue robots began cutting precise entry points, their quantum laser systems capable of slicing through multiple layers of alien metallurgy without causing internal damage. "Retrieving survivors," Michael announced. The universe watched. Humanity made its choice. End of Part 3. The medical bay of the Horizon's promise hummed with an otherworldly energy. Specialized healing chambers surrounded the Kreltok family, their transparent walls revealing a complex dance of medical nanobots, working to stabilize their alien physiology. Jay's eyes flickered open, his first view a sterile white environment, unlike anything in his previous experience. Holographic medical displays danced around him, translating his alien biology into comprehensible data streams. "Welcome aboard," came a voice. Dr. Lena, the ship's lead medical specialist, stood nearby. Her hands moved across adaptive translation, devices ensuring every communication would be precise and clear. Una was the first to fully regain consciousness. Her emerald eyes scanned the room with a mixture of scientific curiosity and childlike wonder. Medical nanobots drifted around, her repairing cellular damage and stabilizing her unique metabolic systems. "Your research," Captain David said, sitting beside Jay's medical station. "It's unlike anything we've ever seen." Holographic displays began showing fragments of the Kreltok family's groundbreaking work, quantum entanglement studies that suggested living systems could communicate across dimensional boundaries, complex mathematical models that challenged everything known about biological information transfer. The ship's scientific database began processing their research. Arya's quantum processors worked overtime, analyzing each data fragment with incredible speed. The Galactic Coalition tried to suppress this, Jay explained weakly. Our work suggested that biological systems have communication networks far more complex than previously understood. Hannah, still recovering, added critical details. Her scientific notes revealed a revolutionary understanding of how living systems might share information across seemingly impossible distances. Dr. Lena was fascinated. Human medical technology had always been adaptive, but this was different. The Krelltok research suggested entire universes of biological communication they'd never imagined. Una began explaining complex scientific concepts with a child's pure excitement. Her understanding transcended traditional scientific boundaries, showing a level of comprehension that surprised even the most advanced human researchers. The medical bay transformed into an impromptu research station. Human scientists gathered around, their excitement palpable. This wasn't just a rescue. It was a potential scientific revolution. "We'll ensure your research is protected," Captain David promised. He understood the political implications. The Galactic Coalition would do anything to suppress such groundbreaking discoveries. Specialized data cores were prepared, quantum encrypted. Storage systems would preserve every fragment of their research, creating multiple backup systems across different dimensional platforms. Arya began constructing complex simulation models. The ship's advanced artificial intelligence could test and validate the Krelltok's scientific theories in ways no traditional research facility could manage. Outside the medical bay, the Horizon's promise continued its journey. Distant stars created a backdrop of infinite possibilities. Quantum drives hummed softly, a reminder of humanity's technological capabilities. The rescued family represented more than just survivors. They were a bridge between different scientific understanding, between species that had previously seen each other as distant, incomprehensible entities. Una's young mind continued to fascinate the human researchers. Her ability to conceptualize complex quantum interactions suggested that young minds might perceive scientific realities differently from adult perspectives. "We're not just saving a family," Dr. Lena whispered to Captain David. "We're potentially unlocking an entirely new understanding of universal communication." The medical nanobots completed their work. Jay, Hannah, and Una were fully stabilized, their unique biological systems now harmonized with the ship's environmental conditions. A new chapter was beginning, not just for the Krelltok family, but for human scientific understanding. The universe watched, waiting. End of Part 4. Research status. Breakthrough survival probability. 100% scientific potential. Infinite. The communication chamber of the Galactic Coalition headquarters erupted in chaos. Holographic displays flickered with intercepted transmissions. From the Horizon's promise, each fragment revealing the humans' unprecedented rescue mission. Senior Coordinator Vex, a reptilian bureaucrat with cold, calculating eyes, slammed his tentacle-like appendage against the central console. "This is a direct violation of interstellar protocols." His voice boomed, translating through multiple linguistic filters. On the massive view screen, Captain David sat calmly. Behind him, Jay and Una stood, their presence a silent testament to human defiance. The rescued family represented more than just survivors. They were living proof of humanity's unique approach to exploration and compassion. "We found a scientific team in distress," David stated simply. "Standard emergency protocols apply." But this was no ordinary rescue. The Krelltok research threatened the very foundation of existing galactic scientific understanding. Quantum communication, models that suggested living systems could transmit information across dimensional boundaries, challenged everything the Coalition believed. Arya, the ship's advanced AI, began broadcasting the research findings across multiple communication channels. Encrypted data packets spread like a digital wildfire, ensuring the information could not be suppressed. Una stepped forward, her young voice cutting through diplomatic tension. "Our research shows that biological systems have communication networks, far more complex than previously understood," she explained. Her language translated perfectly by advanced communication systems. The Coalition representatives shifted uncomfortably. Young minds often saw possibilities that established scientific communities deliberately ignored. Massive data servers across multiple star systems began processing the Kreltok research. Universities, independent research stations, and scientific communities received the information simultaneously. No single authority could control its spread. "They're destroying decades of controlled scientific narrative," Coordinator Vex muttered, watching helplessly as the information went viral. The Horizon's promise had become more than a rescue vessel. It was a beacon of scientific freedom, a statement that knowledge should not be controlled by political interests. Holographic displays showed real-time reactions. Scientific communities across different star systems began analyzing the research. Quantum physicists, biological researchers, and communication experts all found themselves re-examining fundamental assumptions. Captain David understood the deeper implications. This wasn't just about rescuing a family. It was about challenging systemic suppression of scientific discovery. Arya began constructing complex simulation models, testing and validating the Kreltok research in ways no traditional research facility could manage. Quantum processors worked at speeds that made previous computational methods look primitive. Jay explained the core of their research. Biological systems, they discovered, could potentially communicate across impossible distances, not through traditional means, but through quantum entanglement that suggested a deeper, more intricate universal communication network. The Galactic Coalition's communication channels became a battleground of scientific and political tension. Every attempt to suppress the information failed. Yuna's presence was particularly powerful. A young scientist who had survived against impossible odds, she became a symbol of scientific resilience. Her story spread across multiple communication networks, inspiring young researchers everywhere. "Humanity has always been about pushing boundaries," Captain David said during a live transmission. "We don't just explore space, we explore possibilities." The rescued family became unexpected ambassadors. Their survival represented more than a successful rescue. It was a statement about the power of compassion, scientific curiosity, and the refusal to be silenced. Distant research stations began requesting more information. Independent scientific communities rallied around the Kreltok research, creating a network of support that the Galactic Coalition could not control. Arya continued broadcasting. Quantum communication channels expanded. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Something fundamental was changing, not just in scientific understanding, but in how different species might perceive each other. The rescue was complete, but the real journey was just beginning. End of Part 5. Galactic Impact, Transformative Scientific Potential, Unlimited Human Spirit. Unbroken Rescue Status, Active Survival Probability. Increasing Cosmic Challenges, Extreme Atmospheric Conditions, Critical Life Support, Degrading, Hope, Persistent,